and welcome to Tech24 with me, Anelise Borges. Coming up, Julian Assange talks. WikiLeaks founder opens the doors of Ecuadorian embassy for Guillaume Gralet from Le Point magazine. And in Test24, we check out a high-tech fabric designed to block radiation from mobile phones. But before we get to these stories, our phones, our glasses, and pretty soon everything we wear and use will be smarter. It's time for the Figure of the Week, brought to you by Le Journal du Net.
Google's planning the launch of internet-connected glasses for 2013. With Apple, Microsoft and Samsung filing patents for similar projects, smart wearable devices are on a roll. Only this year, nearly 15 million intelligent bracelets, watches, T-shirts and even shoes connected to a smartphone or directly to the internet should be sold around the world. The mobile wearable devices market's expected to double from 2014 to approach $1.5 billion for 30 million products sold before reaching $4 billion in 2017.
Moving on now. It's been 9 months since former hacker and WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange moved to the Ecuadorian embassy in Knightsbridge, London, where he has been granted diplomatic asylum by the Ecuadorian government. This following a British court's ruling to extradite him to Sweden, where he faces questions over a sexual assault investigation. Since then, few have been allowed to enter the building or to meet the man. Guillaume Gralet from Le Point magazine and our technology specialist from the France 24 French channel was one of the privileged ones. Guillaume, first of all, how was the experience? I imagine the bureaucracy and the security involving this meeting were quite extraordinary.
Well, Anelise, you feel like Julian Assange for about 1 hour. So there are 2 policemen standing outside the embassy, and if Julian Assange wants to go outside, for example, to buy a book or to buy newspapers, he will be immediately arrested and extradited to Sweden. Also, there is no garden inside the embassy, so Julian Assange can't go outside. There is just a balcony, and from this balcony, you see a truck, a satellite-equipped truck that Julian Assange says is monitoring all his conversations.
Wow, and how was inside the building? What was it like?
Inside the building, as I said, there is no garden. You feel a little bit enclosed because, for example, he sleeps in an old office where he's got some books, you know, some André Malraux books. He likes André Malraux, some movies, and also his computer, but he thinks his computer is also monitored. I think Julian Assange feels a little bit tired, but still very much determined.
All right. Let's now hear from Julian Assange speaking at the Ecuadorian embassy. Here's what he had to say about Twitter and Facebook.
There have been a number of important Twitter accounts with tens of thousands of followers, for example, Anonymous Sweden, that have been cut off. So the pressure on Twitter to shut down problematic accounts, politically problematic accounts, is now sufficient enough for that to happen, and for it to happen quite frequently. And that's a really serious thing, because Twitter in the West is a very important communications channel for particular users. And if you have 70,000 Twitter followers and then they're gone as a result of political, legal pressure, whoever is able to control that pressure is able to eliminate dissenting voices. Facebook has been handing over lots of information as a result of national security letters and perhaps more. There's no signs that Facebook is strongly resisting that pressure. They seem to be one of the more compliant organizations.
He seems to go pretty far with his accusations there, Guillaume. What kind of man did you find in the embassy? Are you any closer to knowing who Julian Assange is?
I think he's very much determined. As he said, he's very hard on Twitter and Facebook. He seems like a deceived guy. But later in the interview, he said very hard things on Google as well, saying that Google is collaborating with the CIA, with the NSA, when Google has been hacked. So he's very strong on the US. And I said, why WikiLeaks is not showing things on other countries? And he said, yes, we do. WikiLeaks is still alive and we still deliver new files.
Well, he also spoke about WikiLeaks and its presence in France. Take a listen.
We have many different servers around the world in different places, but they're attacked here and there and so on. So we increased our French presence. In response, the foreign minister under Nicolas Sarkozy said, we're going to look into whether this is legal, perhaps prosecute over this publishing out of France. OVH then took a preemptive case to the French courts to have it declared that our cable publishing from France was legal. And they stood by us in that and didn't sever connections with us, unlike Amazon and unlike all the banks and so on.
Now, Guillaume, let's carry on with WikiLeaks. What changes have come about in the past year? How active are its users at the moment, and how is WikiLeaks still running?
Well, Anelise, to be able to stay active, WikiLeaks needs two things. First, money. Second, servers. In terms of servers, Amazon stopped working with WikiLeaks 2 years ago, and now OVH is working with WikiLeaks, is offering its servers. In terms of money, there is an association, Fondation pour la neutralité du net, Foundation for Net Neutrality, that is helping WikiLeaks as PayPal, Visa, and MasterCard stopped their collaboration with WikiLeaks. So Julian Assange says WikiLeaks is still there and we still go on delivering new files.
All right, thank you very much for joining us today, Guillaume Gralet from Le Point magazine. And we're going to have to move on now because it's time for Test 24. How many times have you heard the question, exactly what are the long-term effects of mobile phone use on our health? A large study known as Cosmos was launched in Europe in March 2010 to try and discover just that. The project will enroll 250,000 cell phone users ages 18 or older and follow them for 20 to 30 years. But until those results become available, it may be better to be safe than sorry. A suits manufacturer in the French city of Limoges has developed a high-tech fabric designed to block the electromagnetic radiation emitted by our phones. Test 24 checks it out now with this report.
It's a fabric that repels electromagnetic waves. This clothing company is working on a potentially revolutionary material that would protect the body from the microwaves emitted from mobile phones. Composed of aluminum, stainless steel and nickel, the materials are strategically placed and naked to the eye.
The fabric is placed in different parts of the clothing. It may be placed here over the lower pocket or the upper chest area. It's something that will be invisible to the person who wears it.
The innovative materials were subjected to scientific tests in this special room.
Everyone can imagine the effectiveness of armored clothing made of nickel, copper or aluminium. We've managed to make the material 90% effective in terms of its ability to shield the body.
The 130 employees of the company will have to learn how to work with this brand new fabric, and fast.
This is an additional operation which they don't usually do, so they'll have to learn how to make the new clothing, as well as continuing to make the clothes they make now.
If the fabric is as effective out in the real world as it promises to be here, it could block up to 90% of potentially harmful waves from cell phones and other devices.
That's all we have time for. Thank you for watching this edition of Tech 24. Don't forget, you can give us your feedback on the show via our social network pages. The addresses are there for you at the bottom of your screen. And we leave you today with Forward. Artist Mas Kopp reversed footage of himself walking backwards through the streets of Jerusalem. The film, shot in one take, has been viewed more than 5 million times. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.